And welcome to the Dumb Shit Podcast. It's your boy Shiv. I'll be your host for the day, and we are going to talk about a lot of stuff. This podcast exists because I am a man of limited capacities, capabilities, and talents, but my friends are not. And most of the individuals that you are going to see throughout this entire season are individuals who are super capable, and we're going to have an amazing season. On today's episode, we are speaking to Faiza. Faiza happens to be one of my closest friends, even though we met very recently. It's been amazing. Uh, we chill, I think, very infrequently, but I mean that's what happens. But she happens to be a traveler, and obviously, kudos to her for that. I mean, as limited as our meetups are, we discuss very uh, in very excruciating detail about what the travel plans look like. And I also happen to be somewhat of a traveler, even though I'm not quite as thrifty or quite as smart when it comes to figuring out travel plans, because I'm a man with no plan. And Faiza happens to be a really, really joyful, bubbly little girl. And even though it may not seem that way all the time, I've had the opportunity to do that. And I hope all of you find some value in all of the tips and suggestions that she might give us. So before we get into more ruckus, let's get into the conversation. Cheers.
Hello and welcome back to the Dumb Shit Podcast, and it's your boy Shiv, your girl Faiza, and we are here to talk about the thing I love most, and turns out she's also super interested in, which is traveling. And just by the way, we very recently became friends, and we've had like a few chats. Now she has to be in my life for the rest of her life. It's not like a choice; it's a
Kind
mandate.
of, yeah.
Yep. It's it's default setting now, right? So, before we digress any further, let's come back to the episode. Faiza happens to be an engineer. She does very fancy stuff. I don't understand most of what she said yesterday in terms of her work, but very fancy and
So
I-
much so that I resigned.
yeah, so much so that she resigned. But anyway, we won't talk about the company because what if they fund us? So if you are that company, Faiza resigned from, feel free to send us money. And
What did they take my money?
if they give you money, we'll just like figure out the overhead.
Point.
Transfer it here and there, settle this, and settle the score. Anyway, Faiza, it's been a long journey from PTN to here. And thank you so much for showing up on such short notice.
Thank you for having me.
That's what she said.
Believing me for being here, but yeah.
Okay. Now, I obviously heard the story yesterday too, and I was very, very fascinated by it. But why don't you tell us how this entire travel journey started? And
Where did I start this? Where did I get this
yeah,
chul
obviously-
from?
Yes,
The chul.
yes, the chul.
So for me, basically it was more like a chul again.
And with G.
I had been in Bangalore for quite a while, and I just suddenly felt this urge to be out of Bangalore, not be around people I know, not go back to my hometown, just be at a new place with a set of new people. And then just before COVID happened, I took my first solo trip to Mumbai. I know it's not the most offbeat place or something, but then I had to make sure that my parents believe me that I'm going for some IIT Tech Fest as a nerd. And that's why I booked my tickets from Bombay. I went there, and I think the first time I went for that solo trip, I realized how much you are pushed out of your comfort zone. Like, jitna we have seen in Ye Jawani Hai Diwani, Bunny saying, मुझे दुनिया देखनी है, ये करना है. But there is a lot of, I think, pushing comes out of your comfort zone. You get to move beyond what you have known for yourself, for the world. And post COVID, I traveled a lot to Goa. I volunteered in Alleppey. I went to Birbilling, Jaipur, Pondicherry. So I think a lot of these trips were a result of one chul after the other.
One chul after the other. That's what she said.
Yeah, the chul is the main word, keyword.
Nice. And also, since I heard it yesterday, I may have seen a little zoomed up, but that's what I do best. So, I had another question which I'm trying to reframe because I want to also understand some nuances that you already mentioned about. But can you tell me more about how this tool of travel shaped perhaps the way to perceive the world, how it has shaped your philosophy, your ideologies, and your outlook perhaps for life?
Interesting one. I mean, this is something, so I'm a deeply reflective person that way. I write a lot, so this question is my journal reminder. But yeah, for me, I think growing up in a place where I was surrounded by a certain belief system, then I moved to Bangalore, and then again surrounded by a certain kind of a belief system, because obviously your friends are coming from different backgrounds, they have a certain kind of ambition and thought, and everybody is going for a race that life can be lived in this way and not something else. So when I started traveling, especially solo traveling, I realized a lot of things about myself. Like, I feel you get to meet yourself a lot more in various new ways when you are doing this solo traveling thing, especially. It made me also realize, like, especially in India, because I've only traveled here. So, in India, there are so many different ways in which people are living and are actually happy. Like, there is no one route to happiness. There are different simple ways in which you can live your life and actually be happy. Like when I went to Beer and I saw the people living a very simple life, they were being so happy about it. It kind of inspired me. And I think one more important thing I also realized over there was how ego keeps on breaking down. Basically, when I was that young kid traveling over there as a new person, I had a certain ideology about, okay, this is who I am meant to be, this is what I should be. But then the more I traveled, the more people I met, the more stories I came across. I just, it expanded my horizon of the world, of myself. So I think it's a great way of learning. And a lot of people who travel, even you might know this thing, that traveling teaches you a lot more than you would learn in a regular school.
I don't know anything. Like I said, the premise of this podcast is I'm a dumb guy and I'm just too of shit.
No, I think we need to get him on another podcast sometime. So sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if there is something else that you want to add to it, because you said that there are a lot of, there are a lot of learning that you have about yourself when you travel and the like. If are there like 2 or 3 very specific key things that you learn that you would never have found out if you hadn't done?
For sure. First,
About yourself.
yeah.
It's all about the world. It could be about anything.
For me, firstly, building the trust on myself, because I had been a very low self-esteem bacha since. Yeah. So I think while traveling, I realized that there are so many things I can do without being pushed for it. Like, I am an introvert person, as a friend, you would know. But when I'm traveling, I would just randomly walk up to people, and if I find them interesting, I would be like, hey, I want to take your interview and I want to know your journey. And it would be just very random, or giving my books to people. Like, we would just talk about writing or poetry. Like in Alleppey, I met a solo traveler from the US who was 80 years old. And then that guy was talking to me about his journey, and then when I told him about whatever brief life I have had so far.
Not to be dark, but those are also talking about how his journey is coming to an end or something.
No. He was yet not ready to go into the grave, but yeah. So, I mean, in terms of building trust on myself, in terms of knowing that, oh, if I'm put in a certain kind of a situation, I can have a very different approach than what I would think I would generally have towards things. Thirdly, in terms of understanding that as a person, even like in the world, I feel that, like, I mean, how do I put it? I'm getting the word.
Well, also that's what she said.
No, I mean to say it in terms of कि एक लोगों का एक shallow thought process होता है ना कि this is where like they draw
Like एक
baseline.
limited होता है.
हाँ, एक
This
limited
is
होता है
इससे
कि
ऊपर नहीं जा सकते,
हाँ कि
ऐसी
ये
चीज़.
मेरा baseline है, this is what I want, this is how I want my life to be XYZ. And then when I started traveling and started meeting a lot of people, I also realized that your life happens above your ego level. Like you cannot be egoistic about a lot of things in life, which you usually are when you are in the same set of people or the same environment, because आपकी एक baseline set हो जाती है. आप दुनिया उसके beyond देखते ही नहीं. But when you go out in the world and when you start seeing the world for itself, that's when you realize that what you knew was nothing. The life is actually beyond that. So, and I think one of the other most important thing that I also realized, there is still a lot of goodness in the world, and there are a lot of kind people in the world. So, which I met through traveling.
I have a lot of other questions also, but I'll kind of keep it restricted to these questions primarily because I think that's the way the podcast has been going. I want to understand your approach since you said that you discovered it recently. This passion or this tool that you have, are you approaching it from the perspective of somebody who wants to like master travel or like somebody who wants to be like this some sort of exquisite solo traveler? Or are you somebody who is doing it from the perspective कि नहीं चल रहा है जो चल रहा है exploration or experimentation जो भी मतलब जैसे अच्छा लग रहा है वैसे देखने stuff like that? How's it been? What's it been like?
So for me, Shiv, like it's mainly an exploration point of view from where I go to a place. So it's not something I'm trying to master. I don't want to make a content telling people that hey, there are 10 offbeat things to look in Goa or something. That's not my approach towards traveling. I personally love to know about the culture of a place, the actual life that people are living in a certain place.
So you feel like a local?
Yeah, I have made friends with Goan people, and I know that the culture is completely different than what is projected in the media. So that's my,
What images were like?
you know, how people talk about people coming there to.
I don't know. I'm
I
not
don't
a guy.
see. I know the Goan, proper Goan approach, not the media approach. But it's basically for me, the approach is to talk to a lot of people, know the journey of a lot of people, come across different stories because that also sort of helps me in my writing. And yeah, and it's mainly from the perspective of absorbing the culture, the community that is there existing in a place. So.
Have you happened to, by any chance, live like a local? I mean, that's really popular. People are doing it now. They stay in a place for like weeks or months together and try to, kind of aim the lifestyle of the individual stay.
I think I would say that happened for me in Goa and Alleppey. So in Alleppey, I was travel volunteering for almost a month. So basically, I became one of
Almost a
the,
month.
yeah,
Why not a month?
because it was year and I had to meet my parents. Responsibilities. So yeah, I had to go back.
I am sorry, guys.
I had to go back. So yeah, almost a month I stayed in Alleppey, and then in those 20 days, I became one of the people.
Did
The
you learn any Malayalam?
I learned
Or you-
abusive words, not the ones that I.
Guys, so we have a special section in our podcast where we talk about abusive words.
No, no.
So what have you learned in Malayalam?
Later, I'll tell you secretly, not on camera.
Oh, shit.
I'm trying to have an image, voiced image.
Now that you've mentioned it, that's clearly. not
I don't
something you can
remember
build
shit
towards.
now. But yeah,
But okay. So, see, there are a lot of individuals who have started much later, right? Some
Yeah.
individual may have started traveling just yesterday and happens to chance upon this podcast. And I think that when you have been through something or learned something, and you learn it from experience and not from a book, there is a chance that you might be able to solve somebody's problem who's facing it in real time. Now, are there any tips or any guidelines that you want to give to anybody who's starting their journey now, or they just started and perhaps are facing something which is a common problem for any solo travelers, women solo travelers perhaps? Do you have any tips for them? If you could just tell our audience.
I think like in my case, a lot of my friend circle that is there, I tell them very extensively, at least once in your life, go try solo traveling. Because I feel the way you meet yourself, the way you get to know about yourself, it is very important, especially women. I feel women really need to know themselves than anything in the world at this point, especially. And and I personally also think that freedom for a woman is very important. And once she tastes what freedom looks like, there is no going back to it. In terms of solo traveling, the only tip that I feel, like, there are only two tips for beginners, especially. Talk to a lot of people. Even if you are an introverted person and you do not know where to begin a conversation, just go sit in the common area of a hostel. People will automatically come and talk to you. Be open to any different kind of experiences you come across. Like when you are traveling, do not have that hesitation in your mind that, oh, this is something I haven't done before, so I should not be doing it. Go all out. Like just do whatever the fuck you can think you haven't ever done, and you can maybe do it while you are traveling. And thirdly, I feel go to all offbeat places. Like go to any place, just go navigate, explore by yourself. You don't really have to do the touristy stuff. There are a lot of people doing it. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
I just want to like quickly take a minute to kind of give a shout out to one of my friends. So this is for Swapnil. He happens to be one of the co-founders of Zostel, and I think she mentioned that she was in Alipi, but where in Alipi were you?
Exhausted,
See, so I mean, with due respect to every other homestay and hostel out there, I'm giving this special shout out. It's not a great collaboration, could be, but it's not. Uh, this is a quick shout out to Zostel primarily because the first conversation that I had with Swapnil was regarding safety, and I had a plan to build something among, I mean, along the lines of safety infrastructure for women and the likes. And one thing that I realized is uh, Zostel happens to be one of those amazing chains where the safety is guaranteed. There's absolutely no way you can feel unsafe there. So if you're a woman solo traveler and you want to start your solo traveling journey, every single place I've been in India, I've stayed at a hostel and I've met a lot of women solo travelers there. And they also tend to prefer it primarily because the one thing that cannot ever be compromised is your safety, and hostel keeps you safe. So remember that. And I have one quick gift for my friend Faisal right here, and I will just right back. All right, so this is dumb shit branded merchandise that you cannot buy anywhere other than our e-store. So the link might be in the description if I've already started the e-store. Otherwise, you'll find it somewhere. Yeah, check out Life of Shrankar on Instagram. That's where the e-store's link will be. And since I care about my friend's winter needs, here's a sweatshirt. Please open it, see if you like it, then tell me what's inside.
Does this make us a brand ambassadors?
Yes, yes. 9 brand ambassadors. I just hope they won't charge me money because I cannot afford it. Because brands not paying me money. So brands, if you're watching.
Oh wow, smart shit. But I'm the dumb shit. Thank you for
But not a certified smart
labeling me.
here
I
on this
know.
podcast. And it's not just summer. I also care about my. I'm sorry, it's not just winter. I also care about my friends' summer needs. So here's the t-shirt I'm opening with myself because I think. I don't know. I don't think. Sorry. Look, this one's for summer. And
Black
you can
is
show
my
the audience
color.
how amazing it is, guys. You all can go buy it at the store.
Sorry.
And
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And
many
it
thanks
says
and
dumb
yes to
shit.
that.
Huh?
Yes, yes. The brand's obviously dumb shit. So, one quick shout out to Tara Clayworks because we've been here, we've shot like 6 episodes over here, and they have been so kind, they've been so accommodating. And one quick little shout out to Nikhil and Apurva. This is Apurva Studio. You all can come, watch, and probably book workshops. It's a very cutesy place. You all can come as couples and all. Stuff like that. And we also have to give a shout out to Ben. So, Ben, if you could show yourself. Ben has been the videographer, the man behind the camera. You know, the man behind the camera never dies. Ben is immortal. So, cheers to Ben. And that brings us to a close. This has been the Dumpshit Podcast. I've been your host, Shivankur. And thank you so much for watching. Cheers.
Cheers.
LFG.
All right, now that you're done watching the episode, don't forget to hit like, drop a comment, and please click on the subscribe button because it's free for you, but it means a lot to me. And don't forget to sign up on our Patreon. We have a little more exclusive content and we're a little more chill there. So go check it out. And thank you for watching.